Hey, Marlon here. I just recently saw the Fantastic Four movie, and I'm not going to give a review because that's not something that I wanted this channel to be about. Uh, we don't need another movie review channel. So, as I mentioned in a previous video, the thing that's been lacking from a lot of stories recently is the fact that there's a lack of human connection, or more specifically, while you're watching the movie, you should be able to ask the question, what am I learning about the human condition? When the answer is nothing really, that's where we have a problem, because it's just a special effects extravaganza. And at this point, some teenage kid in his bedroom can make a bunch of explosions and use AI to do this or that. And so when we see it on the big screen, it's not really a big deal. We really, really need that emotional content, as Bruce Lee used to say. Without that, then what's the point, right? I mean, we might as well watch a teenager making videos in his bedroom, right? Or her bedroom. So, what did we learn about the human condition with the Fantastic Four? The big problem, the big dilemma, where they have to choose between sacrificing their child or saving the world. It just wasn't real. I couldn't connect with that. It didn't feel realistic. I know it's make-believe, it's superhero stuff, but the human element, the way human beings react, has to feel real. They got to keep it real. That's what we, that's what we connect to. And so culturally, like in Black culture, we can relate to the fact that I think it was Eddie Murphy in one of his old stand-ups. He said his father used to say, and Black people can relate, I brought you in this world and I'll take you out, and it don't make no difference to me because I'll make another one look just like you. So I'm thinking, okay, you're going to sacrifice the entire world for this one child? No, that doesn't make sense, right? And I couldn't connect with that. In the rest of the world, they would have been launching nukes at the Fantastic Four. Talking about, you're going to sacrifice the whole world for this one child? Please. Well, let's look at when the Fantastic Four was actually created. 1961. About 64 years ago. Think about that for a minute. 64 years. And we're still using the same characters. So, 1961. That's a long time ago. Imagine if we take it beyond comic book movies and say Hollywood told us that, okay, the top 3 movies in 1961 were, let me check my notes here, West Side Story, good movie, it's already been remade. The Guns of Navarone, I think it was a World War II war movie, I think, don't quote me. And 101 Dalmatians, right? 1961, top 3 movies. Now imagine if they said, from here on out, for the next 64 years, these are the only characters and the only stories we can tell. Now we can put different actors in it. We can have different directors, different filmmakers, different writers, but it's just the same stories over and over. Well, you'd say, well, what the hell is this? It doesn't make any sense. Culture changes, society changes, everything changes from generation to generation. And our stories should change also. The characters that we make stories about should change. The Fantastic Four characters were born out of the time of 1961. That was what Cold War was looming, I believe, and the 60s with the sex, drugs, and rock and roll, that hadn't happened yet. The country itself was very racially stratified, even worse than it is today. And everything was kind of good guys versus bad guys, because we were always afraid of the outsider coming in to destroy us, right? And in Fantastic Four, that's Galactus. In the 60s, it was the Cold War with Russia, atomic bomb, right? And everybody was afraid of this outside force coming in to destroy us all. But things have changed since then. I mean, today, one of our biggest problems is with society itself. Fantastic Four, they were of their time. Novel, the space race was like up and going, and these characters were born out of the cosmic storm that when they had a problem in space, and all of that time. And it was all probably perfect, for that time. But today, just the same reason we're rehashing all the other DC and Marvel characters. They're pretending, they're using mind control on you, masses. They're pretending that there are no other stories to be told. There are no other characters. This is it. They're putting you into a finite thinking mindset. They're locking you in so that your mind can't expand and think beyond the boundaries and really reflect. You should be thinking and seeing stories and characters that reflect the times today. And one of the reasons these characters are not connecting is not because Fantastic Four is not a great property. It was during its day, but the essence of the characters, the reason they're having so much trouble trying to make it relatable now, is because they were born of a different time, right? Now they tweaked it this time. They tried to make it a historical story in a way by going to an alternate Earth, and it was set in the past of that alternate Earth. So again, Fantastic Four characters work in that part of history, and so they actually had to go back there to try and make them work. And now they're going to try eventually, I guess, to bring them forward into this time. But why are we neglecting the other stories that are out there? Every generation, even Gen X and the skipped over generation, even we should have our own stories and own characters, and your superheroes reflect the hopes and the desires of a generation, of a time, right? Sometimes it's an echo. It can be an echo of history, so it doesn't have to be of the exact time, but it focuses on themes that repeat, universal themes that apply pretty much any time. But when you have characters running around in spandex, like say a Spider-Man or something, I know they updated his suit and stuff, and don't get me wrong, I used to love Spider-Man as a kid. But today, it's really hard. Like when I look at the Fantastic Four, when I watched that movie, I sat there and I said, which character can I relate to? And there was nothing there for me. Now, I'm sure there was plenty for other people, but for someone like me, someone from my background, or people from different backgrounds for me, if you don't fit that very narrow, like in the 60s, those are the people who had all the stories were centered around those people. Right now, our culture has expanded. We're multi everything. So people are going to have trouble connecting with this. Yeah, they're going to watch it, and initially it's going to be like, oh, wow, the special effects. But it's not going to have the lasting impact, because when you sit and you watch in Fantastic Four and all these other superhero movies coming up, ask yourself each time, what am I learning about the human condition. And if it's nothing, if you're not learning anything about the human condition, then what are you doing? I mean, you're limiting your mind and your intellect, just watching the same thing over and over. People dressing up, enough already. A lot of those heroes were created at a time when it was the greatest thing just to be able to punch people, right? Wham, boof, biff. Those were the sound effects they used to put in the comics. Now, today, young people or teenagers or kids, if you have that urge, we all sometimes want to punch people and get away with it. That's like a dream. That's why Batman was such a great comic, because it filled that void. People want to go around punching people who piss them off and get away with it. Batman did that. Today, all you have to do is turn on your video game, and it's like almost lifelike. You could beat the crap out of people. So you don't need your superheroes to do that, right? You need something more sophisticated, something more challenging, something with a little more depth to it, a little more cultural gravitas, right? And once that slips through, these properties that the DC and Marvel purchased for like billions of dollars, once the new stuff comes through, their properties, these old characters, are going to be worthless. And that's why we don't see any new characters. They do anything they can to keep you from knowing that new characters even exist. Because production companies paid a lot of money for these properties. And as soon as the new stuff comes out, those billion-dollar properties become worthless. Which is okay, because, it's not, they paid billions for them, for the properties. But, they made even multi-billions in profit from them. So, they made their money. It's time that we move society a little culture forward with these stories. Ask yourself, why won't they let us tell stories about new characters? It's not because people aren't creating them. They want the public to think that these are the heroes that these are the only ones. Nobody else is creating anything is worthy. This is it. Close-minded. You're controlling your mind, keeping your boundaries, your blinders on. You got to break free from that, right? And anyway, think about it in terms of music. Imagine if they had a few songs from 1961. They kept playing the same songs with different artists over and over. You'd say, but my culture is different. Every generation has different music. Every generation should have different heroes, different superheroes, different characters that reflect the issues pertaining to whatever that generation is going through. I'm telling you, people in spandex, or even they change it from spandex to body armor, punching people when all somebody has to do is shoot Batman in the face, and it's a wrap. That's just not it for our generation if you really think about it. And there's a disconnect there, right? So anybody who's knows even the slightest, a little bit about sci-fi, from, I guess, my generation, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger. Gen X is my generation, by the way. Anybody who's a Trekkie, or has even a little bit of a fan, everybody knows that the best Star Trek movie ever was Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And when you see Fantastic Four, or if you've seen it already, think about the great quote from Spock, which was, how did he say? He said, the needs of the many far outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. Y'all be cool.